I still remember the scent of roses that morning, too sweet, almost mocking. The wedding hall glowed with white silk and gold lights. Everyone said it would be the happiest day of my life. They were wrong. "Ethan, where's Ryan?" my mother asked, clutching her pearls. Her voice shook, and it wasn't from joy. I checked my phone again. No message. No missed calls. He said he'd pick up the rings. Maybe he's running late. Late. My father snapped. Your brother was supposed to be your best man, not vanish before the ceremony. The tension made the air feel heavier. I tried to smile, but my hands trembled. He'll be here, he promised. A single message blinked on the screen. From Ryan, I'm sorry. Just 2 words. I didn't understand them at first. Then my mother gasped. One of the bridesmaids had just screamed, "Lila's gone." I froze. What? They can't find her, someone said. Her phone's off. My chest tightened. I ran outside, past the guests, past the photographers, my shoes slipping on the marble steps. I called her name again and again. No answer. Marcus, my oldest friend, caught up to me. "Ethan, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down." She wouldn't just disappear. I shouted. He looked away. She left a note. They found it in her dressing room. I snatched it from his hand. My vision blurred as I read. "Ethan, please forgive me. I didn't mean for it to happen this way." My fingers went numb. The world tilted. I whispered, "She's with him, isn't she?" Marcus didn't answer. That silence said everything. My knees hit the pavement. Laughter and music echoed from inside the hall, unaware that my world had just collapsed. Hours passed like years. The wedding guests left one by one, murmuring sympathy that sounded like gossip. My parents sat stiffly in the front row, pretending the nightmare was private. My father finally broke the silence. "You embarrassed this family." I looked up, stunned. "What? You should have seen it coming. You let your brother walk all over you for years." "Dad, enough," my mother whispered, eyes red but voice sharp. "Don't talk about it anymore. Just fix yourself." Fix myself. As if I dropped a glass instead of losing my life. When everyone left, I stayed. The candles burned low. The air smelled like wilted flowers and smoke. I stood where I should have said my vows, staring at the empty aisle. "Why, Ryan?" I whispered. "Why her?" My phone lit up again. Unknown number. I answered out of reflex. "Ethan." Lila's voice. Small. Shaky. "Where are you?" I demanded. "Tell me where you are." I can't," she sniffed. "I didn't plan this. It just happened." "With him?" Silence. "I loved you, Lila." My voice cracked. "Was that not enough?" "I loved you too," she said softly. "But Ryan, he understands me." I laughed a dry, broken sound. "Understands you? He steals everything that's mine and calls it love." "Don't hate me," she whispered. "I already do." I ended the call before I could beg her to come. Back. The chapel echoed with my voice when I shouted, "You both deserve each other." I punched the wall. My knuckles split. Pain felt cleaner than heartbreak. By midnight, the hall was empty. The lights dimmed, but I couldn't leave. My reflection in the glass doors looked like a stranger. A man in a suit with blood on his hand and nothing left inside. The janitor hesitated near the door. "Sir, do you need me to call someone?" I shook my head. "No, no one's coming." When he left, I walked down the aisle one last time. My footsteps echoed where the organ had played just hours before. I touched the altar, cold and lifeless. That's when I realized it wasn't just my wedding that died today. It was the old version of me. I whispered into the silence. "Ryan took my fiancée, but I'll take back everything else." The candles flickered, as if the universe was listening. I didn't know how or when. But that night, I made a vow stronger than marriage. A promise to myself. Someday, they'd both regret walking away. Asterisk, the days blurred after the wedding. Morning or night, it didn't matter. Every sound felt like laughter aimed at me. At the office, whispers followed me like shadows. Poor guy, someone murmured. His brother ran off with his bride. Another snickered. I slammed the file drawer shut. You've got something to say? Just say it to my face. They scattered like cockroaches. Cowards. When I got home, the phone rang again. Marcus's name flashed on the screen. I hesitated before answering. Finally, he said, "You've been ignoring me for weeks. What's left to say?" I muttered. He sighed. "Look, I didn't mean to disappear after the incident. I just didn't know how to face you. You could have tried. I'm sorry, Ethan, really. But it's all over the news now. Everyone's talking about Ryan and Leela." "Yeah, I've seen it," I said bitterly. The perfect couple. The power duo. My own blood and my ex-fiancée turned celebrities. "They'll get bored soon," he said. "No, Marcus. They'll get rich soon. Ryan's running Dad's company now." Marcus hesitated. I heard ward groups in trouble. I laughed hollowly. "That's generous. It's dead. Debts, lawsuits, reputational gone. And my parents still blame me for it." He went silent. "Don't bother," I said. "You already left when it got messy. Stay gone." I hung up before he could respond. Nights were worse. I drank until my mind went numb. Whiskey was the only thing that didn't leave me. One evening, I stumbled into a small diner near my apartment, the kind of place with flickering neon and peeling menus. I just wanted somewhere nobody knew my name. A soft voice broke through my thoughts. "Rough day?" I looked up. The waitress was maybe mid-20s, short brown hair, tired eyes, but a kind smile. Her name-tag read Sophie. "Every day's rough," I muttered. She set down a coffee. "That one's on the house. You look like you need it." "I don't need pity," she shrugged. "Good thing I don't give it. You just look tired." Tired's one word for it. I rubbed my temple. "Do I really look that miserable?" She tilted her head. "You look like someone who's trying to disappear." It hit harder than I expected. "You're pretty observant for a waitress." She smiled faintly. "I listen more than I talk. Helps me forget my own problems." I took a sip. The coffee was bitter, but grounding. "Then you must forget a lot." "Maybe," she said quietly, "but I don't judge." Her calmness disarmed me. No curiosity about my ruined life. No gossip. Just silence that felt safe. The diner became my nightly escape. I didn't talk much, but Sophie always spoke first. "Still running from something?" she asked once. "From everything," I said, "but it keeps catching up. You can't outrun ghosts," Ethan frowned. "Did I tell you my name?" "You pay with a card." "I'm not psychic," she teased. For the first time in months, I laughed. It felt foreign, but laughter didn't last. One night, Marcus showed up at the diner, drunk and loud. "There you are. I've been calling for days." I sighed. Not now. He dropped into the seat across from me. Ryan's on a TV again. "New contract, new car, new everything. You just gonna sit here forever?" "Maybe I like sitting," I said coldly. "You're wasting your life." I clenched my jaw. My life's already been wasted. Sophie appeared with 2 coffees. Maybe let him drink in peace. Marcus looked her up and down. "Who are you supposed to be?" She didn't flinch. "Someone who doesn't kick people when they're already down," he grunted. "Whatever." Then he left, slamming the door. Sophie turned to me. "Friend of yours?" "Used to be," I said. "People leave when you're not useful anymore. Then find people who stay, even when you're not." Her words lingered long after she walked away. When I finally left that night, the air was cold. I looked up at the city lights and thought about everything I'd lost: my family, my love, my pride. But for the first time, I didn't feel completely alone. Maybe because of one stranger who didn't look at me with pity. Maybe because I still had a heartbeat. I whispered to myself, "I'll climb out of this. Somehow." And for the first time in months, I almost believed it. It started with the sound of laughter coming from the TV in the diner. I looked up, and there they were, Ryan and Lila, sitting together on some morning show, hands intertwined like the world was theirs, the host said. The power couple of the year, Ryan and Lila Ward, building an empire together after their fairy tale start. I froze mid-sip. My chest felt tight. Sophie noticed immediately. You okay? I laughed bitterly. That's my brother. And my ex-fiancée. Her eyes widened. You're serious? Dead serious, I said quietly. They stole everything. My life, my name, my future. She muted the TV without asking. So what are you going to do about it? I stared at the dark screen. I don't know yet, but I can't keep being the ghost they buried. She leaned on the counter. Then stop haunting yourself. Her words hit harder than whiskey ever could. That night, I went home and opened my laptop. My inbox was full of rejection emails from job applications. Every one of them read the same. We regret to inform you regret, I muttered. Yeah, me too. I stared at my bank balance, barely enough for a month's rent. Then I looked at the car keys on the table. The next morning, I sold the car. Watching it drive away felt like cutting off my last tie to my old life. Marcus called the same evening. You actually did it? Sold the Mustang? Needed the cash? For what? More whiskey? For a new life, I said. He hesitated. You're serious. Deadly, Marcus sighed. Then I'll connect you with someone. My cousin's startup needs an extra pair of hands. Low pay, long hours. Perfect, I said. Tell him I don't need sleep. A week later, I was in a new city with nothing but 2 suitcases and a fire inside my chest. The office was a cramped space above a coffee shop. It's filled with cables, half-broken laptops, and people who looked as tired as I felt. The founder, Aaron, handed me a laptop. You code? I learned fast. That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got, I said. He smirked. Fine, let's see how fast. That's how it started. 12-hour days, coffee for blood, and mistakes for breakfast. Every bug I fixed felt like a small victory. Every failure like fuel at night I'd crash on the office couch. The glow of the monitor felt warmer than sunlight. Sophie called sometimes. You sound exhausted. I am. Then rest. Can't. I'm building something. What? My revenge. She was quiet for a moment. Revenge or redemption? Does it matter? Yeah, she said softly. One frees you. The other chains you. I didn't answer. Maybe because I didn't know which one I was chasing. Months passed. The startup began to grow. Clients came. Small contracts turned into big ones. I learned how to pitch, how to code, how to negotiate. I learned how to stand again. Aaron clapped my shoulder one day. You've got potential, Ethan. I thought you'd burn out. I did, I said. Now I'm just burning brighter. At night, I'd scroll through news feeds, Ryan's company, Lila's charity events, their smiling faces everywhere. Each photo was gasoline on my fire. Sophie visited once. She looked around the tiny office and laughed softly. You really live here? For now, I said. You're changing. Good, she shook her head. Not all change is good. I'm not the man who let people steal his life anymore. Then what are you? I met her eyes. A man who's taking it back. One evening, I stood on the rooftop after another long day. The city lights stretched below me, endless, alive. I called Marcus. Hey, he said, surprised. You sound different. I feel different. What's going on? I've got an idea, I said. A product that'll shake the industry. Something they'll have to notice. He whistled. You sound obsessed. I am, I admitted. But obsession built empires, didn't it? Marcus laughed. You're insane. Maybe, but insanity's better than being invisible. As I hung up, I looked at my reflection in the glass-tired eyes, stubble, but alive. Really alive, I whispered to myself. One day they'll have to look up just to see my shadow. For the first time, that didn't sound like a dream. It sounded like a promise. Asterisk, I still remember the first night Novatech came to life. My apartment reeked of burnt coffee and cheap instant noodles. The code on my screen flickered like a heartbeat. This is insane, I muttered to myself. But so was believing in love. When I called Marcus, his voice was full of static. You're starting a company? With what money? Mine. Every cent I've saved. That's suicide, I said. But at least it's my suicide, he laughed. You've changed, man. I had to. Months turned into years. I barely left the apartment. My neighbors probably thought I was some kind of hermit. Sophie called often. You need sleep, she'd say. I need results. You can't run on coffee and anger forever. Watch me. Sometimes she'd drop by with food. You're turning into a ghost, she'd tease. I'd grin. Ghosts don't build empires. She'd smile, but her eyes said she worried anyway. 2 years later, the first investor meeting came. I stood in a glass-walled office with sweaty palms and an overworked laptop. 3 men in suits stared at me like sharks. So, Mr. Ward one said, why should we believe in Novatech? I forced a smile. Because no one believed in me, and I survived anyway. They exchanged looks. That's not a business model. No, I said, it's proof of one. The room went silent. Then another investor chuckled. You've got fire. I like that. That was the first yes. Marcus showed up a week later, grinning ear to ear. You actually pulled it off. Barely, I said, but barely's enough. He looked around the new office, still small, but real. This place smells like ambition, or fear. He laughed. Same thing sometimes. When I told him I wanted press coverage, he frowned. You sure you want to go public? It means Ryan might see. That's the point. Marcus shook his head. You're still chasing ghosts? I'm chasing justice, I said. He sighed. Fine, I'll talk to my editor. A few weeks later, Novatech's story appeared on the front page of Business Edge. The Phoenix founder, Ethan Ward's rise from ruin. The article blew up overnight. Calls came in from investors, clients, even universities, asking for talks. I could barely keep up, Sophie called that night. I read it. You sound unstoppable. I feel unstoppable. Good, she said softly. But don't lose yourself in the climb. I hesitated. What if that's the only way to stay up here? Then maybe you're climbing the wrong mountain. Her words lingered long after the call ended. The next morning, Marcus stormed into my office. You're trending everywhere. But brace yourself, Ryan called me. My chest tightened. What did he say? He congratulated you. Said he's proud. I laughed sharply. Proud. He's scared. Maybe, Marcus said. But his company's in trouble. Rumors of debt, mismanagement. Karma's on schedule. Marcus frowned. Don't enjoy it too much. You're starting to sound like him. I looked away. Maybe I need to, just for a while. A few days later, I had lunch with potential investors, people who used to ignore my emails. One of them asked, where do you see Novatech in 5 years? Everywhere, I said. I want our name in every home, every device, every connection. That's bold. I've lived too long being small, I replied. I don't plan to ever be small again. They laughed, impressed. I laughed too, but it didn't feel like me anymore. That night, Sophie stopped by the office. She looked around at the glowing screens and half-a-tone takeout boxes. You've built something incredible, she said. Not yet, I replied. Just started. She studied me quietly. You smile less now. I don't have time to. You should make time, she whispered. Success means nothing if you lose your soul. I looked at her, really looked. You think I've already lost it? She didn't answer, just gave a small, sad smile. After she left, I stood by the window, watching the city pulse with light. Ryan's name flashed on a news ticker below mine. His company under investigation. His face looked older, desperate. I whispered, now you know how it feels. But instead of joy, I felt a hollow ache spreading through me. The pain hadn't left. It had only learned to wear a suit. Still, I told myself the same thing every night before I slept. Keep going. Don't stop now. And I didn't. Marcus barged into my office one morning, waving a stack of papers. "You sure you want to go through with this?" I looked up from my laptop. "You already asked me that." He dropped the papers on my desk. "Yeah, but this time I'm asking as a friend, not a journalist." I leaned back. "It's not personal, Marcus. It's business. It's both," he snapped. "You're about to destroy your brother. Completely." I met his eyes. "He destroyed me first." Marcus sighed and rubbed his temples. "The leaks you gave me, if I publish them, Ryan and Leela won't just lose their company, they'll lose everything." "Good," I said quietly. He stared at me for a moment. "You've changed." "I had to." He exhaled and muttered, "All right. Don't say I didn't warn you." 2 days later, the article went live. "The Ward Empire built on lies." The headlines spread like wildfire. News anchors tore into Ryan's reckless spending, the fake investors, the forged reports. Social media turned on them overnight. When I walked into Novatech that morning, everyone was glued to their screens. "Ethan, this is wild," one of my employees said. "Ward Industries is crashing, is it?" I asked calmly, even though my pulse thundered in my ears. Marcus called minutes later. "You seeing this?" "I started it," I said. He chuckled nervously. "You don't even sound happy." "I'm not happy," I said. "I'm finished." By noon, the phone calls began. Reporters, investors, former employees of Ryan's company begging for jobs. I ignored them all. Then my secretary buzzed me. "There's a woman downstairs. Says her name's Lila."
Nice.
My stomach clenched. "Tell her I paused." "No, send her up." When she entered, I almost didn't recognize her. Her perfect posture was gone. Her eyes were red, her hands shaking. "Ethan," she whispered. I stood, expression blank. "You shouldn't be here." I didn't know where else to go. Across my arms. "Try your husband." She flinched. "He's not the man I thought he was." I raised an eyebrow. "You just figured that out?" Tears welled up. "He lied about everything. The money, the company, the investors. I thought we were building something real." I laughed quietly. "Now you know how it feels." "Please don't be cruel," she said. "I came here because I don't have anyone else." "You had me once," I said. "And you left." Her voice trembled. "I made a mistake." "No," I said. "You made a choice." She looked up at me with desperate eyes. "Ethan, please. I never wanted to hurt you." I stepped closer, my voice low. "You walked away on our wedding day, Lila. You didn't just hurt me. You buried me alive." She covered her face, crying. "I'm sorry," shook my head. "Forgiveness is for those who didn't bury me alive." She sobbed harder. For a moment, I almost pitied her. Almost. When she finally looked up, her voice was barely a whisper. "He's gone, Ethan. Ryan disappeared last night, running from the fire he started." "I think so. The police are looking for him." I sat down, staring out the window. "Let him run. The world will find him eventually." She hesitated. "If you ever loved me, please don't destroy what's left of him." I turned back to her. "You think I leaked those files just to hurt him?" "I did it to free myself." "Then are you free now?" she asked softly. The question hit harder than I expected. I didn't answer. She stood there, trembling. "You won, Ethan. You got your revenge. Doesn't that make you feel better?" I looked her in the eye. "No, it makes me feel nothing." She nodded slowly, as if that answer hurt more than hate could. As she turned to leave, I said quietly, "Lila." I stopped. "I don't hate you anymore," I said, "but I'll never miss you again." She closed her eyes, tears falling silently. "Goodbye, Ethan." "Goodbye," I whispered. The door clicked shut. The silence that followed felt heavier than any noise. Later that evening, Marcus called again. "Ryan's been spotted at the airport. Looks like he's trying to flee the country." "Let him," I said. "You're really done, huh?" "Yeah," I said, looking at the dark skyline outside my office. "It's over." "Oh." He was quiet for a moment. "So what now?" "Now," I exhaled. "Now I build something worth keeping." As I hung up, I caught my reflection in the glass, calm, cold, unfamiliar. For the first time, I realized I didn't just win. I became the storm that ruined him. Asterisk. I was reading reports when my assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Sir, there's a man downstairs asking to see you," says his name is Ryan Ward. The pen froze in my hand. "Ryan? Yes, sir." "Should I send him up?" I said. My voice colder than I meant it to be. When the elevator doors opened, I almost didn't recognize him. The sharp suit, the arrogance, the smirk, all gone. He looked thinner, worn out, like life had chewed him up and spit him out. He forced a weak smile. "Hey, little brother." I stood, arms crossed. "Don't call me that." Looked around the office, trying to sound casual. "Nice place. You really made it big." "I did," I said flatly. "Without stealing anyone's life." He winced. "I deserve that. You deserve more than that," I snapped. "But I'm busy, so say what you came to say." He took a deep breath. "I need help, Ethan." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "You came to me for help?" He nodded, shame written across his face. "Ward Industries is gone. Leela left. The debt's there eating me alive. I don't even have a place to stay." "Good," I said. "Maybe you'll finally understand what you did to me." He looked down. "I do understand. That's why I'm here." I turned away, staring out the window. The city looked small beneath me, just like him. "Say it," I muttered. "Say what? The real reason you're here?" He hesitated. "I want a job. At Novatech." I turned slowly, almost laughing. "You want to work for me?" He swallowed hard. "I'll take anything. I just need a chance to start over." The silence between us was thick. For a moment, I saw flashes of the brother who once taught me how to ride a bike.
Ow.
Who stood beside me during exams, who smiled when I succeeded. Then I remembered the wedding, the empty aisle, the message, the humiliation. "Why should I help you?" I asked quietly. "Because no one else will." His voice cracked. "Because I'm still your brother." I closed my eyes. That word doesn't mean what it used to, Sophie called that evening. She always knew when something was off. "You sound tense," she said. "Ryan came to my office today." Silence. Then, what did he want? "A job," she sighed. "And what did you say?" "Nothing yet." Ethan, her voice softened. "You don't owe him anything, I know. But if you help him just to humiliate him, that's not closure. That's poison. I'm not forgiving him. I didn't say forgive. I said don't become him." Her words lingered long after the call ended. The next morning, Ryan returned. He looked worse, eyes hollow, clothes wrinkled. He stood in front of my desk like a beggar. "I didn't sleep last night," he said. "I kept thinking about what I did to you. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need work." Studied him for a long moment. "Fine." He blinked. "Fine. You'll start tomorrow. Entry level. No special treatment, no office, no title. You'll earn minimum wage and report to my manager. If you want redemption, start by scrubbing the floors you once looked down on." He nodded quickly. "I'll take it," I smirked. "Of course you will." As he turned to leave, I added, "And Ryan?" He paused. "Don't ever call me little brother again." That night, Sophie stopped by my office. She looked at me with quiet concern. "You hired him." I did. "Why?" "Because watching him bow his head felt like justice." She frowned. "Did it make you feel better?" I hesitated. For a second, and now? I stared at the floor. Now it just feels empty. She sighed. Revenge always does. I didn't argue. She was right, but I wasn't ready to admit it out loud. When she left, sat alone in the dark, the city lights reflecting off the glass, Ryan had fallen. I had risen, and somehow neither of us looked victorious. The applause was deafening. Flashing lights, cameras, champagne, everything I once dreamed of. "Ladies and gentlemen," the host said, "let's congratulate Ethan Ward, founder of Novatech, Innovator of the Year." I walked on stage, smiled, shook hands, said the right words, but inside I felt nothing. Just noise. After the ceremony, Marcus found me backstage. You did it, man. You're a legend now, I said flatly. A legend. He frowned. You sound thrilled. I thought it would feel different. Different how? Real. He patted my shoulder. You're burned out, that's all. Take a vacation. I don't even know where I'd go. He laughed awkwardly. Anywhere that doesn't have your name on the door? That night, I went home to my penthouse. Glass walls, city lights, everything money could buy. Still, it felt too quiet. I poured a drink and stared at the skyline. Lila's voice echoed in my head. You buried me alive. Ryan's voice followed. I'm still your brother. I gritted my teeth and whispered, both of you got what you deserved. But it didn't sound convincing. The doorbell rang. I opened it to see Sophie, holding a takeout bag. I figured you'd forget to eat, she said, walking in. I didn't. I lied. She set the food down. You won again, huh? Another award? Yeah. Do you even care anymore? I care about winning. She looked at me sharply. Winning what, Ethan? There's no one left to fight. I'm fighting to stay on top. Of what? A mountain of ghosts? I didn't answer. She sat on the couch and sighed. You don't sleep. You don't laugh. You don't even live. You're just existing on caffeine and pride. I smirked. That's what success looks like. No, she said quietly. That's what emptiness looks like. We ate in silence. Or rather, she ate. I just pushed food around. Remember when you used to talk about freedom? She asked. I found it. No, you replaced it. I frowned. What does that mean? You replaced peace with control. You built walls so high, no one can reach you. I like it that way. Why, she shook her head. You used to like people. People hurt me. Not everyone, she said. I didn't. That one cut deeper than I expected. You didn't, I admitted softly. She stood, gathering her bag. Then why do I feel like I lost you anyway? Because maybe I'm already lost. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. You won your war, Ethan, but you lost your peace. I stood there, frozen as she walked out. The sound of the door closing echoed louder than applause. The next morning, the office buzzed with excitement. Novatech hit record profits. One manager said, investors want an expansion. Another cheered. I smiled mechanically. Good work. Keep pushing. After they left, I sat alone, staring at my reflection in the glass wall. The man looking back wasn't me, just a version built from ambition and ashes. Marcus called later. You missed the post-award interviews. Everything okay? Fine. I lied again. You sure? You sound, don't, I cut him off. Don't ask, he hesitated. All right, man. Just don't forget why you started all this. I remember exactly why, I said. Because they broke me, he sighed. And now you're breaking yourself. I hung up. That night, I stood on the balcony, the city pulsing below. The air was cold, sharp, alive, everything I wasn't. I whispered to the wind, I got everything I wanted. Just the sound of traffic far below, indifferent. The glass in my hand trembled. I set it down before it shattered inside. The awards gleamed on the shelf. Each one a monument to a man I didn't recognize anymore. For a long time, I just stared at them. Trophies of victory, proof of nothing. Then I laughed softly, bitterly. I buried my brother's arrogance and replaced it with my own. The city lights flickered in my reflection, and I saw what I had become. A man surrounded by success and starving for peace. Asterisk, the morning started like any other coffee. Silence, work. Then Marcus called. His voice sounded wrong. Ethan, turn on the news. I frowned. Why? What happened? Just do it. I grabbed the remote. The anchor's voice came through, calm and cruel. Breaking news, Ryan Ward, former CEO of Ward Industries, was found dead in a motel earlier this morning. Police suspect suicide. My fingers went numb. The mug slipped from my hand, shattering against the floor. Marcus spoke softly through the phone. I'm sorry. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time didn't make sense. I just sat there, staring at the headline scrolling endlessly. Disgraced businessman found dead. Left behind a note. Sophie came by that evening. She didn't knock, just walked in. Marcus told me, she said. I looked up from the couch. So it's true, she nodded. They said he overdosed. Alone. Fitting, I muttered. He started alone, ended alone. Ethan, don't, I said sharply. Don't tell me to feel sorry for him. I wasn't going to. She sat beside me. I was going to ask if you're okay. I don't know, I said. I should feel something. Relief, victory, anything. But it's just I tapped my chest. Empty. She whispered, that's what happens when revenge runs out. I laughed bitterly. He took everything from me, Sophie. I took it back. And now he's gone, and it still feels like he won. She looked at me gently. Maybe he didn't? Maybe neither of you did. The funeral was small. Gray skies, no cameras, no headlines this time. Just silence and dirt. Lila wasn't there. She'd disappeared weeks ago. The papers said she left the country. I didn't care. The priest spoke words I barely heard. May he find peace. When everyone left, I stayed behind. The grave was just a mound of fresh soil with a name carved in stone. Ryan Ward, beloved son, visionary lost too soon. I knelt down, brushing dirt from the stone. My voice came out quiet, almost trembling. You won once, I won later, but we both lost everything. The wind carried my words away. Maybe that was fitting. As I stood to leave, an officer approached me. Mr. Ward? Yes. He held out an envelope. This was found among your brother's belongings. It's addressed to you. My throat tightened. Thank you. I waited until I got home to open it. The handwriting was shaky, uneven. Ethan, if you're reading this, I guess I finally ran out of excuses. I used to think I was the stronger one, the smarter one. But you were always the one people trusted. I hated that about you. You had something I never did, Hart. When I took Leela, I told myself I was proving I could win. But all I did was lose myself. I didn't love high, loved beating you. That's what I can't forgive myself for. You were always better than me, even when you didn't believe it. Don't become me, please. Ryan, my vision blurred. I dropped the letter on the table and pressed my hands against my face. Sophie's voice echoed in my head. Don't become him. I whispered to the empty room, too late. Later that night, I found myself back on the balcony, the city glowing below like a living thing. Marcus called again. You okay? No. Do you need company? I need quiet. He hesitated. All right. Just don't stay in that darkness too long. I've lived here for years, I said. After I hung up, I looked at the letter again. His words burned into me. You had heart. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel vindicated. Just broken. The man I'd wanted to destroy was gone, and all that was left was the mirror. I whispered into the night. You finally beat me, Ryan, because for the first time, I envied him. He'd found peace, and I was still searching. The lights were blinding. The applause felt endless. Ladies and gentlemen, the host said, voice booming through the speakers. This year's Company of the Year award goes to Navit, founded by Ethan Ward. I walked onto the stage, shaking hands, smiling for cameras. My face moved, but my soul didn't. They handed me the trophy, polished gold, heavy in my hands. The crowd rose. People chanted my name. Speech. Someone shouted. I stepped up to the microphone. Thank you, I said automatically. This isn't just my victory, it's ours. Every sleepless night, every risk, every failure, the words came easily, but they meant nothing. Inside, there was only silence. When the lights dimmed and the music swelled, I left the stage and slipped out the back door. Marcus caught up to me outside. Ethan, where the hell are you going? You just won the biggest award of your career. I know, I said, walking toward my car. Then why do you look like someone died? I stopped. Because someone did, he frowned. Ryan again? No, I said quietly. Me. The road out of the city was long and dark. The radio played something soft, but I wasn't listening. The trophy sat in the passenger seat, gleaming under the streetlights like a mockery. Hours later, I parked in front of a small cafe in another city. I knew this place, Sophie's New World. I'd heard from Marcus that she opened her own shop here. When I walked in, a bell jingled. She turned from the counter, surprise flashing in her eyes. "Ethan?" "Hey," I said. "Nice place." She smiled cautiously. "Didn't think you'd ever leave your tower of glass?" "Neither did I coffee," she asked always. As she poured, the smell filled the air, warm, human, real. I hadn't realized how much I missed that. When she placed the cup in front of me, I said, "I came to say I'm sorry." She raised an eyebrow. "For what? For everything? For chasing ghosts? For pushing you away? For turning into the thing I hated?" She leaned on the counter. "Took you long enough?" I gave a weak smile. "I know." We sat in silence for a while. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping against the windows. She finally spoke. "You look tired." "I am," I admitted. "Tired of pretending success feels good." "Then stop pretending." "I don't know how." She studied me. "You built an empire, Ethan, but you never built peace." "I thought peace came after victory." She shook her head. "Peace comes after surrender." I laughed quietly. "I don't know how to surrender either." "Then learn," she said softly. "Before it's too late." I looked at her, the same calm, steady eyes that once grounded me. "You really forgave me?" "I did," she said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean going back." "I know." She smiled faintly. "Good, because I've moved on. Someone else." She hesitated, then nodded. "He's kind. Nothing like you. That's probably a good thing." "It is," she said gently. "You and I were fire and gasoline. Beautiful for a second, destructive forever." I stared into my coffee. Guess I always liked the burn. When I finally stood to leave, she walked me to the door. "You'll be okay," she said. "I don't think so," I replied. "But maybe that's okay too." She looked sad, but her smile didn't fade. "You'll find something better than revenge someday." I nodded. "Maybe, but not today." As I stepped outside, she called after me, "Ethan?" "Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for forgiving me," I said, even when I didn't deserve it. She didn't answer, just waved. The rain had stopped. The sky was dark, but clean. I got in the car and started the engine. The trophy still sat in the passenger seat. Mocking me with its shine, I looked at it and whispered, "I married success, not peace." The road stretched ahead, empty, endless. I drove without destination, just motion. Ryan's last words echoed in my head. "You had heart." I touched my chest. It still beat, steady but hollow. The headlights cut through the dark. The city faded behind me, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel rage or triumph, only quiet acceptance. "I buried his arrogance," I whispered, "but I also buried my own soul." The rain began again, soft and forgiving, washing the windshield clean. I didn't stop it, I just kept driving.